India's manufacturing industry is taking giant strides. India's IT services are dubbed the best in the world. The country is fast emerging as one of the most attractive investment destinations on the planet, and her thriving service sector is witnessing unprecedented demand. These are just a few examples of the current state of the Indian economy, which is performing exceedingly well on almost every front. Surveys, analysis, and projections from the IMF to the World Bank to India's own estimations are assured of India's economic potential and performance. The Indian growth story has now hit warp speed and is showing zero indications of slowing down. Come with us as we explore the sound and stable conditions and the welcoming business environment responsible for attracting multi-billion-dollar conglomerates to India. Apple Inc. CEO Tim Cook launched the first set of Apple retail stores in the Indian cities of Mumbai and New Delhi as the world's top tech brand set out to further establish its presence in the thriving and rapidly expanding Indian market. Apple's growing fascination with the Indian market is driven by both India's massive business potential and the growing economic capacity of her people. Today's India's economic strength and resilience can be attributed to her timely and corrective macroeconomic measures, prudent policy interventions, and her determined efforts at developing a conducive atmosphere for businesses. It is the result of these endeavors that India has been hailed as a bright spot by renowned organizations and individuals across the world. The International Monetary Fund, in its recent outlook, predicted an annual growth rate of 5.9% for India, while keeping the global growth estimates at just 2.9%. The IMF has predicted a high-flying Indian performance in an otherwise discouraging outlook.
We have a growth rate for India, which is 6.8 in 2022. Let's not forget, this is one of the bright spots in the global economy right now, such a high growth rate. And it is moderating down to 5.9 with a minus 0.2 revision compared to January.
In a law-abiding atmosphere with transparency as a major component, almost every sector of the Indian economy is performing above par. India's Purchasing Managers Index, or PMI, an indicative marker of a country's economic performance in the manufacturing and service sectors, has risen to a 3-month high. India has set the target of augmenting her manufacturing market to $1 trillion USD in a few years. Experts are extremely optimistic regarding India's manufacturing sector and predict that manufacturing will be the country's growth engine in the fourth industrial revolution.
Now, with the new policy of China Plus One policy, India has become an attractive destination for manufacturing investment. Of course, we have competing countries like Vietnam and Bangladesh and other Middle East countries, but right now, the effort is to provide an attractive environment for manufacturing. And I think we're on track to do that.
India's thriving information technology sector, her commitment to transitioning to non-fossil fuel energy with an increasing number of entities shifting their operations to renewable sources, and her futuristic policies regarding artificial intelligence are not just helping her own growth, but are also fostering global efforts towards achieving better living standards for people world over. Global offshoring and digitalization have also given India an edge over her market competitors. India, especially under Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government, has focused on revising India's labor laws. The reformatory labor codes of 2020, which ensured multi-layered security for the Indian workforce, have added to the country's growth.
Now the effort is to bring in everything into the formal sector. So through digital, through infrastructure, through finance, whatever way, whatever manufacturing, whatever work is being done in the economy to be brought into the formal sector.
India's talented working-age population is her biggest resource. India has prioritized upskilling around 400 million people to translate this talent into tangible growth for the country as a whole. Apart from the availability of highly skilled human resources at reasonable wages, an important factor responsible for drawing more investors to India is the Modi government's revolutionary reforms towards safeguarding investors' interests. India has improved by a remarkable 79 positions from 142nd in 2014 to 63rd in 2022 in terms of ease of doing business. Policies that encourage investment rather than exploit it have fared extremely well for the Indian market, as both domestic and foreign investors are confident about putting their money in the Indian market.
And nowadays we see a huge potential in the Indian market. India is really a very fast-growing country, full of opportunities. So I would say that the country needs infrastructure, needs, let's say, innovation, and most of this you are able to do on your own with very good companies, very good, let's say, entities coming up every day in the Indian market.
India has also emerged as one of the major economies that has adapted and is working on technological innovation. India is working overtime to make up for what was deemed a missing piece in the country's economic model, a robust infrastructure. From expressways to dedicated freight corridors to new ports, India's infrastructure improvement plan is textbook. India has already increased the capital outlay for infrastructure by 33% in the ongoing fiscal year. Observers say the cumulative efforts towards strengthening the Indian economy will pay off in times to come. India, which is close to having a 3.5 trillion USD economy, is projected to double that number in the next 9 years. At a time when a precarious geopolitical climate, coupled with an intensifying fuel war, disrupted supply chains, and looming inflation is taking a crippling toll on global growth, India has stood out as a single bright spot.